Oh, we got that. Welcome to this week's edition of the Bears Den. Had some technical difficulties for a moment. Guys, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. I'm joined by Joe Tanksley, the bad man himself. And, man, week 1 is in the books. We're prepping for week 2. It's hump day. Or that's the day after hump. I'm sorry. Yeah. And we're already looking at week 2, and there's a big challenge ahead for the Bears. But, Joe, let's talk about week 1. All right, most importantly, let's talk about week 1. The Bears came away with a nice 24-17 victory at home on the lakefront over the Tennessee Titans. No offensive touchdowns, 2 tutties, 3 field goals, and a 2-point conversion. And Bears fell down 17-0, went at half down 17-3. And then at halftime, something changed. They held Tennessee scoreless, and they went out and scored 22 points. Your thoughts on the victory on Sunday on the lake?
I think, that first half, if a Bears fan, you see that first half and you kind of get worried, like, oh, more of the same stuff. And, it was hard to watch. Caleb and the offense, they didn't look like, they were in sync, and they, that kind of, stood for the rest of the game. But, I was more surprised by how the defense came out in the first half. And, when you really think about it, that Tennessee, team has a lot of, new faces, new players, new coaching staff. And, a lot of this, wasn't really scouted. So I think, I think they needed that first half to kind of see what they were doing. And they went in at halftime, made their adjustments, and, they proved they were the better team when they came out of the second half. Will Levis was Will Levis. The defense helped him out, to show himself. Tariq Stevenson played a monster game. Jalen Johnson, number 1 rated corner this week in week 1. Defensively, Darryl Taylor looks like it was a steal of a trade from Ryan Poles. 2 sacks. I mean, he really popped out to me. When he came in and the situations he was able to rush the passer, he really wreaked havoc. On his side. I think that was a good pickup. So I was impressed by him. Offensively, I kind of would have liked to see, Cole Kmet be involved a little bit more. The offensive line, the interior especially, looked like they didn't really show up to play. And granted, Simmons and Tavon Sweat or Trevon Sweat, I can't even Sweat. The rookie. Devondre? Devondre Sweat. Okay, Devondre Sweat. On the interior of that Tennessee line, they lived in Caleb's face pretty much the whole game. And so, I mean, that was very disappointing because we didn't really get to see a chance for him to, really get settled. But, through all that, he was able to maintain his composure, didn't turn the ball over.
And we just lost. Well, we'll get him back. We'll get our band. Oh man. There we go. He's back.
What happened? I just got kicked off. But what I was saying is that we really didn't get a chance to see Caleb get settled because of that interior pressure from Simmons and Devondre Sweat, and but he was still able to maintain his composure. Took care of the football, didn't turn it over. The receivers dropped some passes too. Keenan Allen dropped a touchdown, would be touchdown.
Yeah.
Um, you know, there was a one pass that got batted down in the red zone that looked like he probably would have scored had he completed it. Um, I forget who he had, but he looked like he had a post route open in the back of the end zone, but it got batted down. Um, so that offensive line play needs to be much improved because they got another big test coming in week 2.
Yeah, it was Caleb struggled, right? The biggest thing for me that I saw was his lackadaisical drop back. That caused a lot of his issues. Shane Waldron's got to deal with that. He's got to tell him, on a 3-step drop, and I know it messes up the timing because the timing's a little different because you're in shotgun, but he's got to get back. All right, you're 6'1" and change. All right, you're not 6'3", 6'4", 6'6". All right, some of those tip balls could have been avoided. One with arm angle, all right, and 2 just being back again, further away from the line of scrimmage. One of the plays that he definitely missed the crossing Roma Dunze before he got hurt. So there's a couple things. That that Caleb had to do, but the most important thing you said was he didn't turn the ball over, and that's huge. That's huge. All right, so I expect Shane Waldron to drop something different, and we got to remember it was our first time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's the first game. Maybe everybody had a little nerves. I know Caleb had nerves. You could tell he had some happy feet. What's up, Jay Grizz? What's up, Levette? Yes, Grizz, we are live. Levette Lee, we're live. And you could tell his happy feet were there. He missed a couple of throws that, he missed Keenan Allen down the sideline in that hole, in the cover 2 hole, in that soft spot. He bounced one to DJ. So there were a couple of passes I know he wished he would like to have back. But, again, he was just nervous. It's common. It happens. But talking about the defense, man, the defense and the special team stepped up. I think you made a good point. And one of the things that I said as well was it's going to be tough and it's going to rely. The coaches are going to have to coach. Crazy idea, huh?
Right.
Coaching going to have to coach. As I have my shirt, coaching matters. Right? Because there's no film on these guys. There's no film with Callahan calling plays with Levis as a quarterback. There's none. All right, this is his first year there, so you kind of had to figure out on the fly. Defensively, I think that's what made it easier for Tennessee to go down and score or to score 17 points, because again, there's really no film on them. But after they kind of got a handle on it with Coach Eberflus and Eric Washington, they got a handle on it. They're able to pick up some tendencies. Said, okay, bet, shut them out in the second half, and the key play, the thing that got it started was Kevin Hardy punt block, Jonathan Owens scoop and score. Talk about that and how that changed the momentum and the tide of the game.
I think you could. I was watching it, on TV. You could kind of tell that the crowd in Soldier Field was kind of dejected, especially after what Bayless had done, and that the Bears, they were in danger of kind of just going into the tank. And when that big play happened, it just kind of lifted the spirits of the team. It kind of changed the trajectory of the game. It made it a 2-score game, and that hole didn't seem so big, going into halftime, and it really just, kind of let the team know that that they were different, than some of the Bears teams that we've seen before in the situation. The defense was able to step up and make their adjustments, and really, special teams, when you look at it, really had a great game, kicking the ball and punting and really pinning Tennessee into some deep situations where they had to drive the length of the field. Kyron Santos was on point. The only hiccup was Bayless, and after that mistake, he didn't come back into the game. I think having a special team score really changed the outlook of the game, and for the outlook for fans. I think you've been a Bears fan for a long time. You're used to seeing this, from a Bears team, when you have to, depend on all the phases, what I'm saying, of the team to kind of, get that victory. And that's kind of what it was. The offense did struggle, but they didn't turn the ball over and put the defense in a difficult situation with sudden change, and turning the ball over. Um, Special teams did their job with covering kicks, pinning them back. I think that that scoop and score from the punt block really solidified how dominant that our special teams was that day. You can tell that that they knew they were going to block it. I think they said it. They knew they were going to block it. In the post game, because Hightower, he's turned out to be a very good special teams coach. He had it ready and had it gamed up, and it was a big play.
It was. And so now, what do you think this week? You don't want to rely. The defense knows they're going to have to carry the load. All right, defensive special teams they're going to have to carry the load for the first part of the season, maybe the first half of the season. I mean, and literally after, and I've said this, after week 10, the first 9 games, all right before they go into the division, their offense should be clicking. All right, if your offense isn't clicking to shoot after 10 weeks, after 9 games, it's not going to click. So at that particular point, it should be clicking. So the defense understands they're going to have to carry the load. I think Torrey Taylor understands that he's going to have to do a hell of a job, continue doing a hell of a job, because he did a really good job on Sunday. But what do you think Shane Waldron's plan could be now with Caleb? All right, there's the issue with the Texans is this. They have great edge rushers. They have Will Anderson, the reigning defensive rookie of the year. And they also have Danielle Hunter, who signed there in the offseason for Minnesota. We're very familiar with Danielle Hunter. Right? He's feasted on our quarterbacks quite a bit. But the interior of their line isn't as stout as Tennessee's was.
Right.
So I think the tackles are going to get a much tougher go at it, although I'm not really worried about Darnell Wright and Will Anderson because he seemed to handle him when they were in college, Tennessee and Alabama. But so what do you think Shane Waldron does now? Do you think he gets the ball out of Caleb's hands quicker, establishes the short game, or does he decide to run the ball more just to take a lot more pressure off Caleb?
I think he has to do a mix of both. He definitely has to run the ball more. And granted, they didn't get a chance to run the ball like they wanted to because they got down 17 points. But I think, when you come out and in Houston, in their stadium, you have to be able to establish that run and keep Caleb in third and short, in those kind of situations where it's easy to convert, a first down. I think you're going to have to mix in the short passing game as well, and those timing routes. And really, like you said just before, getting back in that drop and boom, delivering the ball. I think that's going to be very, very important because Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, those guys, they're some real dudes, and I think that's going to be imperative for him to be able to get the ball out quickly. And I think, it'll be interesting to see how it works out because it looks like we have some injuries. We don't know for sure, if Roma Duze will play or Keenan Allen will play, but they're going to have to figure out something. I think the first things first, though, you have to establish that run. I think establishing the run is rookie quarterback's best friend, and you got some serviceable backs. You got DeAndre Swift, and you got Khalil Herbert, who's who can carry the rock as well. So I think you need to lean on those guys. You got Tevinjenkins who you can run behind. In the interior. You mentioned their interior is a little bit softer than Tennessee's. So I think that's the way to go. You need to attack their weakness, and I think that's what we need to focus on going into Houston. Not we, but the Bears.
One of the things that you mentioned, we don't know about the injury report. But one of the things that I will say is this: we better not play Roma Dunze. He's got a strained MCL. Right, in my personal opinion, I'm not putting you out there. Game two of your rookie year, and to do more. You could possibly do more damage. I'm not doing that. All right, just not doing it. Here's the injury report for today. All right, Keenan Allen did not practice. Kieran Amigaje limited, and everybody else did not practice except DeMarcus Walker. I'm sorry, Zach Pickens. He was limited yesterday. He was full today. But Ryan Bates, shoulder and elbow, limited yesterday, did not practice today. Kari Blasingame, the knee and a hand, limited yesterday, did not practice today. Mercedes Lewis did not practice today. Roma Dunze did not practice yesterday or today. Zach Pickens limited yesterday, full today. DeMarcus Walker did not practice yesterday, limited today. All right, that's the injury report for us. Mm-hmm. I personally would not play Roma Dunze.
I agree with you. Yeah,
100%. I don't need to lose you for a longer extended period of time. Sorry, kid. I wouldn't even dress him. I make him inactive. All right, get on the sideline, and you don't get no uni, no helmet, no nothing. All right, but then the thing is, it opens up an opportunity for somebody else. Right? Mm-hmm. Do they pull up Colin Johnson from the practice squad? Do they put Bayless back wide receiver? I mean, I'd be okay I'd be more than okay if they didn't dress if Bayless was inactive.
Yeah, I think Bayless
just to send a message.
Yeah, I think he has to be inactive this week, and I think Tyler Scott should get an opportunity this week. He had a really good preseason. Colin Johnson had a solid preseason, so those two guys definitely deserve a shot to be active and to get an opportunity to make a play on Sunday. I think for all the potential that Bayless has, he just hasn't shown it, and I kind of feel like we would have seen it by now if he had it. And there's flashes of it, but for me, he's more likely to give the ball away than he is to make a play for you, and you just can't have that out there.
Well, he doesn't give the ball away when it's in his hands, but it's got to be in his hands.
Right.
Like he can't return. He can't track it in the air. It seems like. All right. Obviously, he can't catch it smoothly. But if you hand him the ball, I give it to him on jet sweeps. He's okay.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen much of him as a receiver. But Kevin Scott says, and thanks for chiming in, Kevin. Said utilize our running game and tight ends more. I agree. Cole Kmet was MIA, not by his choice. All right. He would he have one catch maybe?
Yeah, he had one catch.
And you got to use him and Everett to get those guys moving. And I think, again, because the middle of their defense is not as stout, I think you can run the ball. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll be a huge, huge help. Kevin also said, unleash Tyler Scott. He's thinking along the lines of you, Joe. Mm-hmm. All right, Tyler Scott, here's a chance. You better go out there and kick ass, kid. Here's your shot. And, what are you going to do with it? Well, we're going to find out. Here's, I want Vegas to succeed, but I think he needs a little timeout. I think he needs to be and it's going to be hard because Keenan Allen and Roma Dunze are probably going to be out. Mm-hmm. So I could see if they dress them. I prefer that they not. I prefer they bring up Colin Johnson, all right, and Tyler Scott and make those two active and make Keenan or make Vegas inactive. That's just my personal opinion. But
yeah, I agree with that. I'm thinking along the same lines. I think, Coach Hightower said it, in the press conference today. What he did is unacceptable, and he still hasn't learned. And so
you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn.
Right. He needs to learn, and the only way he's gonna have to do that is to sadly sit out. But
no, sadly. You got
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I mean, we get to learn a lot about these players, especially with Hard Knocks. So the reason I say sadly is because I can tell that he really wants to do well. It's just not clicking for him. It's just not clicking for him.
The sad part, and I think here's the reason that Ryan Poles is really, really is giving him a long leash. Is one, he's his draft pick. Mm-hmm. All right, that's the starters. Two, if this joker goes somewhere else, and balls out.
Yeah.
And balls out.
Yeah.
And that might be exactly what happens because, yes, you have you got a lot of love and a lot of loyalty to the team that drafts you, but, for some reason you just can't get it right. They got to move on. And
Right.
that might be the impetus that gets him fired up and more focused, as if you need to get cut to be focused. I mean, come on, man. Like, this is the dream of millions of kids, growing up, and you have this opportunity and you squander it, and you need to get cut to get motivated. Like, that bugs me. How do you squander this opportunity? You're one of a very select few who get to play this game at a professional level, and they're giving you chance after chance after chance, and you keep blowing it. So I see Ryan Poles saying, "Hey, he's gonna exhaust every possible opportunity for him, and then once he lets him go, fine." But he's cautious that if once he lets him go, someone's gonna pick him up. He runs 4.3,
right?
Even if it's just a flyer, all right, veteran league minimum,
right? And
he runs back a kickoff, or he takes the end around, or he catches one and takes it to the house because he has that ability.
Yeah,
he just hasn't shown it here.
Right.
So, but let's move on to week 2. Let's preview this week. Man, I'm fired up. Week 2, baby. Oh, how about, let me get this out. Gotta get this clean. Bears are at Energy Stadium taking on the Houston Texans on Sunday night, 7:20 kickoff. NBC. For us here in Chicago, NBC 5 Chicago, or you can listen to it on their flagship station, AM 1000. That's ESPN 1000. They're going to build this as CJ Stroud versus Caleb Williams. How wrong is that for them to do? Or do you think it's right?
I mean, it's not right because they don't, they're not opposing each other on the field. They're not standing across from each other on the field. I think more so it is, CJ Stroud.
Not like Brett Favre and Brian Urlacher, or Aaron Rodgers and Urlacher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more like that. And I think, it's more like, CJ Stroud versus our defense. That's the way I look at it. I think the Texans have, quite a good, a phenomenal, skill position players. They got Stephon Diggs, they got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, they added Joe Mixon. So they got weapons over there. CJ Stroud, proved himself. He was the offensive rookie of the year. Quarterback, had a phenomenal, rookie season. Led, the Houston Texans, who drafted him number 2 to the playoffs. Nobody saw that coming. And he's, looking to improve on his rookie season. And I think, what Slowick was able to do with him and with that offense and now having these new weapons, I think it's going to be, interesting to see how, the Bears defense and Matt Eberflus, counteract that. Our secondary, I feel like, is still one of our biggest strengths on the team. You got Jalen Johnson, you got, Tyreek Stevenson, Gordon going up against their receivers, the Diggs, Dale, and Collins. It's going to be an interesting matchup.
The one good thing, though, Joseph, is that they have film.
Right.
They have film. All right. They went into last week blind, but they have film. They have all the film from last year. All right. With CJ Stroud, with what Bobby Slowick likes to run with him. Obviously, Stephon Diggs wasn't on that team, but you have an idea of not. But you still have the majority, the core of those guys are going to be there. So this defense is not going in blind. This offense is not going in blind, which gives us a much better. I wouldn't say it gives us an advantage, but it helps us out a lot because of the fact that we're not going in blind. We're going to practice. We see what their tendencies are, what they like to run, and when and where. So it's going to be a different. I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, if this defense comes out and balls immediately.
You know what? And that's a good point. And I think, even offensively, saying that Texas defense is not, big on doing a lot of disguises and stunning and things like that. They pretty much, play straight up and say our guys are better than yours. And I think, for being able to read and make decisions pre and post snap, I think that's going to give, Caleb a better opportunity to make some plays as well.
Also, it's going to help Caleb too. You're right, because they got film.
Right.
They have film. They understand. They got so you're able to see it and put your offense now up against theirs. So you're the one thing, if they don't get pressure, and they saw what the pressure did to Caleb, right up the middle. So here's what I feel. If they can't get pressure with their front four, because they run a 4-2, a 4-3 as well. All right, just like us. If they can't get pressure up the middle, because Caleb can step up,
right?
I think they're going to be forced to bring an extra guy. They're going to be forced to bring 5, and if that happens, man, the soft spots in zones will be bigger. Caleb has to be ready. Has to understand where that pressure is coming from and get the ball in those bigger soft spots. But I think the best way to help him is to run the God-blessed ball.
No doubt. I think it was somebody, I forget his name, but he posted earlier that the tight ends have to be a bigger part of the offense as well, especially when you talk about exploiting those zones, soft spots of the zone. So I expect Cole Kmet to get more playing time, this week. He only had, played 27 of the 54, 56 snaps 53. That they had last week, of the 53 plays that they had last week.
Yeah.
And that can't happen. I think, he's one of the leaders. He's one of the captains on his team. He needs to be out there and helping to make plays, and I think he has the capability to do that. I think, Gerald Everett is familiar with Shane Waldron in the offense, so I kind of feel like that's probably why he got a little bit more of the snaps. But Cole Kmet is a real dude, and he needs to be out there making plays.
Talk to me about the running backs. Khalil Herbert didn't get very many carries last week. Who would you like to see get the bulk of the carries? Who would you like to see the second amount? And how many rush attempts do you think this Chicago Bears team needs to or should get on Sunday night?
I think we definitely need to have a more balanced, offensive attack. And I think, I'm fine with, them utilizing DeAndre Swift as another receiver out the backfield and, getting him the ball out in space, and, getting him touches in a different amount of ways. But when Khalil Herbert comes in, you need to be handing him the ball and running with him. So, I'm fine with, DeAndre Swift, maybe getting, 15 carries and maybe, 5 or 6 targets, in the game. And I'm okay with Khalil Herbert getting maybe, 12 to 15 carries. We run the ball at least 30 times. I think we'll be in a good situation to have a pretty balanced attack and kind of keeping the Texans.
Don't get me excited like that, Joseph. You just said 30 times. Don't get me excited like that, bro. Don't get me excited, bro. That's dude, and that's what you need to tell the offensive lineman. You want offensive linemen to get excited? You want offensive linemen to get fired up? You start the meeting, say we are going to run the ball minimum 30 times a game. This week, we're going to run the ball a minimum of 30 times. You watch how fast they perk up in their seats. You watch how fast they do that and say, you know what, we're going to win this game because of you, offensive linemen. We're going to win this game because of you. All right? They can only go up 7-0 to start the game if they score first. All right? We need to go down there if they get the ball first. We need to control it. Don't worry about going down 17-0. We need to control the ball, punch them in the mouth from the kickoff to the end of the game. Put this all in. Hope Chris Morgan's doing that. Hope Chris Morgan's putting it on the offensive line. Say we're gonna ride you to the end zone. Period. All right, and see let them. Hey, I said earlier on a couple podcasts, this has to be a Tevin Jenkins redemption game. He got his ass handed to him. I mean, yeah, Devondre Sweat is he's a monster, but man, he embarrassed Tevin Jenkins in a contract year.
Oh yeah,
game 1.
Yeah.
So Tevin Jenkins, I need a revenge game out of you. And how do you do that? We're gonna run the ball. Are you pissed at how bad you look? Good. Take it out on these jokers. Run these sons of guns all the way off the sideline and these outside zones. Because they have to do something. Their lack of intensity was bothersome to me last week. All right, they just came out flat, and I get it. You had no film. You're kind of trying to play it out, but you know what? The thing is, you can set the tone. You know what I mean? Like you don't have. I know you don't really know what they're going to run, but your intensity doesn't have to be determined by knowing what they run. Your intensity is determined by you.
Exactly.
And it wasn't there, and that bugged me. Start the game.
Yeah, it was kind of bothersome. And like you said before, it was kind of like, oh, it's more the same old. But luckily, Eberflus and that defense was able to, Eberflus was able to make some adjustments, called a hell of a game in the second half, and we were able to come out with a victory. And he also said it was a little bit different than in years past because it was, they were looking for, they had answers and they had solutions more so than, people questioning what was going to happen and, how we're going to make it out of here or, thinking about their plans later on. They were in there trying to win a game. And, and they came out, luckily, they came out 24-17. I think week 2 is a different challenge. It's shaping up to be a very big game because of our defense. And because of the weapons that Houston has, and because of C.J. Stroud, and because Caleb does come up with the hype. You asked me earlier, they're billing the game with C.J. Stroud versus Caleb Williams, and people want to see, if Caleb Williams is really the real deal,
right?
And and I think that's pretty much what it boils down to. I didn't answer the question before, but I'm getting to it now. I always do that to you. I'm sorry. But Caleb Williams, they want to see if he's the real deal. And week 1 left a lot to be desired. 93 yards, what I'm saying, and like you said, his footwork wasn't that great. He missed some guys. Balls were getting batted down and tipped, and so I think, he probably has some, like you said before, some nervous jitters, and the more experience that he gets, what I'm saying, it'll get better for him. But the biggest thing, though, I take away from that game, week 1 going into this one, Caleb now understands that he doesn't have to do it all by himself. Not like like he was at Oklahoma or USC. He has a team that he can rely on and who can pick him up. And that should take some of the pressure off of him, to just go out there and distribute the ball and just, hit the layups, take what the defense gives you and don't hurt the team. And then when he has the opportunity to make the play, go ahead and make it. But right now, just go ahead, don't make any mistakes, do the things necessary that's going to keep the team in position to score points and take care of the football and hold on to the football. I think more so now than ever, this is when you want to see the game management aspect of Caleb Williams start to develop and understanding the situations of the game. And I think, that's important for young quarterbacks to go through. Not every play has to be your time. You know what I'm saying? Your time is going to come. And I think that's what the great ones understand. There's going to be opportunities to take a shot. You know what I'm saying? There's going to have to be opportunities when you're going to have to extend the play. You don't have to do it every single time. You know what I'm saying? Understand what the situation is. And I think being able to have an ugly win like that, what I'm saying, has to be, kind of a relief, for Caleb because he played bad, but they still won.
Yeah. So, and that's what Coach Eberflus had said to him or told the media that he told Caleb, like, rely on your team. Ryan Poles said it. All right. Eberflus said it. Rely on your team. You got stars. I know some of them are hurt, but you still got Cole Kmet. You still got DJ Moore. You still got DeAndre Swift. You still got Khalil Herbert. You have stars. You have playmakers. Rely on them. Excuse me. And, the thing about it is he's got to understand. And here's why I asked you what Shane Waldron's game plan would be. Mm-hmm. All right. Shane Waldron's got a bully. He's got to dial it back a little bit and say, here's what I need you to do. First, we're going to run the ball. So we are going to bully people. But two, that short game has to be stuck on all. All right, I need some slants. I need some hitches. I need some quick outs. I need some curls. I need some crossing routes. I need some swing routes. I need some quick screens. I need all those things. Why? Because it gets Caleb in a rhythm. It gets Caleb 1 completion, 2 completions, 3 completions. And I know it might be a screen and gains 2 yards. It doesn't matter. It's a completion. All right, it's a completion. And all these things, the more and more completions you get, the more comfortable Caleb gets. Getting it here, getting it there, or you know what I mean? Because if he throws the ball and it's incomplete, now that's in your mind. Even though you're like, don't worry about it, you still know that last pass was incomplete.
Right.
But when you start getting completion after completion after completion after completion, all of a sudden your confidence grows. You settle into the game. You get a better feel of the game. And that's why I feel Shane needs to really, 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 really address that short game. The short to intermediate. All right. Nothing, obviously you take a shot here or there later in the game, or maybe early once just to back him off with Tyler Scott. But man, I need curls. I need digs. I mean, curls and slants and hitches, and you know what I mean? Get him completions early. Because when you get a quarterback in rhythm, good quarterbacks in rhythm, man, right. It flows so much. So that's what I hope he does. Yeah. Lastly, before we end it, what do you think the defense does? I mean, how do you think that they're going to contain, all right, CJ Stroud? Yes, they got 3 great receivers. Hell, we got 3 great cornerbacks. We match up very well against those guys. What do you think they're going to do? Do you think they'll be pressured? Do you think, that's what they did last week after halftime? They made adjustments. They spread those defensive ends out a little wider, kind of like wide nines. All right, they brought a little more pressure inside sometimes. What do you think? What do you think the defense is going to have to do to contain CJ Stroud?
I think this is going to me. This is shaping up to be a Kyler Gordon game, and they're going to run a lot of they're going to have to run a lot of nickel because of the weapons that Houston has, and I think Kyler, this is a game where I think he's going to eat and be a big playmaker for the Bears. I think that Tyreek Stevenson and Jalen Johnson, they're solid. I think and going against our skill position players in training camp in the off season really kind of help sharpen that edge a little bit, and where you can go against the Stephon Diggs. Where we got DJ Moore, you know what I'm saying? You got Nico. Well, we got a Hall of Famer, Keenan Allen. You got Nico Collins. We had to go against Keenan Allen. You know what I'm saying? You got Tank Dell where we had Rome. So I think they're going to be game, and I think they're going to be up for the challenge. And so I do think that I expect Matt Eberflus to kind of mix it up a little bit and bring some pressure like he usually does in a different an exotic way to kind of confuse them a little bit. I think this will be a very eye-opening game for nationally for the Chicago Bears defense, to really letting them know say that they are those guys. I think that's kind of the aspirations that they have for themselves and how they think about themselves and how they talk about themselves. And they're going to have to walk the walk, in Houston on Sunday. They're going to have to go out there and punch them in the mouth, like we said before. We got the film. You brought that up. Very good point. We're going to understand the tendencies and what they like to do. You know what I'm saying? We got film on Stephon Diggs. We know how he likes to run routes and how he likes to, do certain things. We got his tendencies. You know what I'm saying? So I think that this is a very good matchup, to one to watch. I think they're going to have a lot of people watching this game to see what the Bears do on defense. I think, the leaders on that team, Jalen Johnson, Brisker, Tremaine Edmonds, Sweat, he didn't get any sacks last week, so he's going to be, itching to get in the backfield and, and pick some up. I think, this is I'm excited.
Hey, Kevin Scott said the defensive line will disrupt. I hope so. I hope so. Jay Grizz says I'm predicting a safety from either Taylor or Brisker coming off the edge. Okay. He did bring he brought some pressure with Kyler Gordon. I think you mean Kyler Gordon.
Yeah.
Coming off from that slot. So, well, Joe, that's a good spot to wrap it up. But one last thing before we wrap it up, big dog, give me your prediction.
You know what? Oh man, I think this is gonna. I think the Bears surprise people. I think we're gonna have 28, like 21 game. I think we outscored them. I think we get a couple touchdowns.
28-20? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 28-20. I put the Bears 28-20.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm expecting a special, some defensive touchdowns, to kind of help aid in that a little bit.
All right.
Keep the party going.
I think it's a little more high scoring.
Okay.
Because Indy hit some big plays on him last week.
Okay.
Indy got some big plays on him last week. 3 pass plays of over 50 yards. All right. I think the Bears win 30-21.
Okay.
I think Caleb has a much better game. I think 30-21.
Okay.
Hey, and everybody's watching now that's going to watch tomorrow, you better act surprised when I give my prediction tomorrow. You better act surprised. You hear me, Jay Grizz Jr., Patty? Jay Grizz, a little closer game, 22-20. Okay. Kevin Scott, 38-21. Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll take that.
Patty Lara, 31-21 Bears. Okay. So keep these because on my show tomorrow, I want these same predictions. Damn it!
Right.
I'm gonna write these things down so I can call you. I can call you as a carpet if you give me. I'm kidding. Yeah, and this game's huge. This game's huge, and here's why. 2-0 is so much different than 1-1.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so much different, and so. The confidence that this team will have, okay? The confidence that this Bears team will have going down to Indy is going to be through the roof if they get this game. Because I don't know if you remember last week, I was like, they can't start off 0-2. They were down 17-0.
Right.
They were staring 0-2 in the face like, damn, they don't win this game. We were saying last week, they don't come back from the 17 points. Now they got to go down to Houston, 0-1. But now we're going down to Houston 1-0.
Right.
They come out with this game. And this is a barometer. This is a test for them.
It's a playoff team.
This team made the playoffs last year. Yeah, they got their ass handed to them. But nonetheless, this is a playoff team in the second year of the system. All right, so C.J. Stroud isn't learning a new offense anymore. Him and Bobby Slowick are in lockstep. All right. Defense isn't learning all the new play. They're not learning a new defense. They just added Danielle Hunter, who's been a bear killer.
Yeah.
So this is a really good test. And if the Bears are able to pull this one out, come on, man. Going down to Indy, that's a nice game.
Yeah.
They're riding high. Indy will be, who knows what Indy's going to do, but Indy already has one loss. Excuse me. So this sets them up rather nicely because the Texans are one of the teams. Remember I said in the first 9 games, first 10 weeks, there's a bye in there. First 9 games, they had a chance to go 7-2, maybe 8-1. I could actually see them going 9-0, but I'm not going to get too crazy. I said I was trying to find it was difficult for me to find a third loss in there. I couldn't find a loss number 3 in there. It was the Rams. It was the Texans, the Rams, maybe the Jaguars in London because they're always there.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like that could be my third. But if you take care of this, hold on, player.
Right.
You take care of the team, a playoff team. I'm really thinking 7-2, 8-1 in those first 9 games. And then you roll into the toughest part of your season with your offense rolling, with your defense rolling, and now we got our division.
Yeah.
So this game is so important for the big scheme of things, or for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
You starting off 2-0. I forgot the percentages. When you start off 2-0, there's a huge percentage of you making the playoffs.
Right.
So we'll see, man. We will see.
We'll see.
But all right, folks, we'll cut it there. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Bears Den, a collaboration between More Media and Sports Zone Chicago. And be sure to tune in tomorrow. Shawn and Maya in the morning, right here on Sports Zone Chicago, 9 a.m. to 11. All right, we have more Bears talk. We'll talk a little White Sox, maybe like 10, 15 seconds. Talk a little Cubs. Okay, talk a little Sky. And then we'll talk a lot of Bears tomorrow. Yeah. All right, so be sure to tune in 9 a.m. to 11 Central Time, YouTube channel. All right, we have a mobile app. You can check it out there as well. Roku channel, do all that good stuff. Make sure you check it out tomorrow. And Jay Grizz says, I'm just feeling good about this team. I feel we'll be in every game this year, and it will come down to a last possession of every fourth quarter and or OT. You know what, Jay Grizz? If it does, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Because we're going to win some, we're going to lose some. All right, we're not going to win all of them. But the fact that we're in them is going to really – I can't think of the word. It's going to benefit us, okay? It's because of the fact that we're going to get grizzled. We're going to get hardened. All right, we're going to be used to playing in close games.
And you learn how to win. You learn how to win that way.
Yes, you're going to have to learn how to win some of those games. Yes. So, cool. Listen, that's another edition for the Bears Den. So for Joe Tanksley, guys, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Again, make sure you tune in tomorrow. All right, 9 a.m. to 11. I will be on. Man, I can't wait. I'm fired up already. As soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna go finish. I'm gonna start prepping for the show tomorrow because I'm fired up.
No doubt.
So for everyone here for More Media and Sports Zone Chicago, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Guys, have a phenomenal evening. See you in the morning.
Peace.